Carrick lost his first game to Newcastle 2-1 yesterday night, and there are a couple of things. If you've watched at least the Crystal Palace game, you would have noticed a pattern. And let me show you. So basically, the number one thing that changed between between the Everton game and then the Crystal Palace game was this man. He started instead of our boy Ahmad. So he started, yeah, because of Ahmad was out of form, and his performance against Brunswick was not exceptional. So when Sheshko starts, usually when Ahmad is here, all the front four, which is Cunha, Bruno, Mbumo, and then Ahmad can move around. But when Sheshko is in the game, everyone has their zones they stick to. Everyone has their zones they stick to. And the issue we now faced against Crystal Palace was basically because Cunha is not a left winger, he is always around here. I mean, Bruno is usually with the striker, and then Mbumo is here. So it is a 4-2-4, and then it is not it is no left winger. This leaves the flank of the opposition. It gives them they have like a lot more freedom to move, which Shaw has to cover. Crystal Palace did something very different on the other then by moving Munoz inside, moving Mitchell inside, tightened the middle of the pitch, did not give Kobe space to play, did not give Casemiro space to progress the ball through the middle. Forced United to have to use the wings, and we were not able to until the pass Bruno gave Cunha around here, where Cunha was brought down by Lacroix. This was our issue. This was our issue in the Crystal Palace game. We were forced to use the wings, no central progression, and it did not work as well. So for the Newcastle game, Eddie Howe did something different. This was our formation starting. So this was the formation. United in the 4-2-3-1 and Newcastle in the 4-3-3, basically. During the game, Eddie Howe's instruction to the players was everyone knows Cunha loves to drift in, so he would be around this space, yeah? The defender's job here is to make Cunha unable to act without like pulling apart at the structure. Follow Cunha, man mark Cunha. Man mark Mainu and Bruno. Don't give them space. Tonali was majorly on Bruno, frustrates them. And because of Cunha's drifting in, this meant Trippier was free because Shaw had to follow and monitor Elanga. Elanga is really fast, you can't give him space. So Shaw was on Elanga. And this gave Trippier all the room to move around. So this was the first of the tactical changes or the tactical ideas Newcastle brought into the game. Then when they got the red card, Eddie Howe made his second tactical tweak. You lost Jacob Ramsey. Take out Harvey Barnes. And bring in Willock. Keep your three midfielders. You have your two up forward, which is Elanga and Anthony Gordon. Move your left back and your right back up forward, and then leave two defenders in the middle and make Ramsdale your third centre back. This is your 3-5-2 formation. The midfield is not the midfield. There's no overloading of the midfield because you still have your three midfielders. Now you have someone who can do the defensive cover and also create channels. The one space where you would have had an issue with was your defense, but since Ramsdale was very good, is very good on the ball, and he doesn't have to defend if there's no ball, if there's no player there. Occupy United up here in the mid block, and then allow Ramsdale to be your furthest player backward, to be your furthest defender backward. So we had the two defenders always passing to Ramsdale. Ramsdale was basically the playmaker from deep. The third change he did was when Carrick saw this was not working, and this was around the 85th minute, he brought on Ahmad. This meant United now had a very, very fluid front four. And because he also brought on Zexi, taking out Mainu, so he was not getting as man marked anymore. United had an attacking base of 5. Then we had the case where because Casemiro was getting tired, Ugarte was brought on. This meant United had Cunha, a winger who did not like to stay in the wing, Bruno, who is the major threat on the team, Ahmad, who who can run around for days. Umbumo, who had missed a chance but was still a very dangerous player. Zegzi, who plays in between the lines as a deep line forward, and a DM who chases the ball continuously. What Eddie Howe saw was that instead of having to deal with all these complexities, change it up once more. Make it a 4-4-1. 4-4-1 again. Make it a 4-4-1. Make it as compact as possible. Since, because if you remember, Zegzi had already fired his, given Ramsdale something to think about with that shot that he had to save. That really good shot he had to save. And this meant that they could no longer take the risk of Ramsdale being up high and move them back, and it was now a 4-4-1. And 4-4-1 is what led to the goal, because if you can outplay the press, if you can outplay the United press and the United pressure, and you can recycle the ball, the ball was basically recycled to Trippier to Sola, Rana was Malacia, and it was the goal. So 3 things Eddie Howe did. One was account for Cunha's inability to stay out wide and tendency to drift into the center. The second thing was, because as there's a red card, make Ramsdale your third centre back and change your formation. And then when Ahmad came on and brought some energy and firepower into the team, make the team as deep and compact as possible. If you can play for the draw, play for the draw. If you can't play for the draw, if you see an opportunity to score, you score. Basically, so that's what happened. That was the game plan. That was the game plan yesterday. We hope this is a learning curve. Basically, Carrick needs to figure out, 1, how to break a low block. 2, how to rotate players effectively without them losing their touch, because Mbomo has lost his fire. Ahmad lost his earlier. We've lost Martinez to injury. We almost lost Shaw and Maguire, and Casemiro as well, to be honest. Do not start players that are not match fit, as we saw in Malacia. So yeah, these are the stuff I noticed. If you notice something else and you think it's something that would have helped, or something that you noticed that Newcastle did in the game, please drop it in the comments. Let me know.